In today's video, I have brought you a very nice problem. Here is the following information. We have m and n as natural numbers. We have this fraction with 1441 over 1442 is strictly inferior than m over n is strictly inferior than 1442 over 1443. Okay? What is the smallest value of this sum, m plus n? So meaning, what's the minimum value of this term, n plus n? So if you take a look at the left-hand side of this inequality, this fraction is almost the same as which on the right hand side of this inequality, because as we're writing 1441 over 1442, we immediately going to repeat the same number in numerator. Okay, that's why this fraction is approximately equals to this one. Okay, so you guys, you can give the try this problem before getting to the solution. So go ahead, pause this video when you come back to see the first. Okay, now let's jump into the solution. We have this following fraction, which is 1441 over 1442 is strictly inferior than m over n is strictly inferior than 1442 over 1443. Okay, so we have this inequality is already written on this form. So now we are going to work out on this one. So first of all, I'm going to start with the left hand side of this inequality, then move on to the right side. Okay, crossing the multiplication, I get 1441 is multiplied by n, strictly inferior than 1442 is multiplied by n. Okay, I'm simply going to write the same number as I have in the left hand side of the inequality. I get 1441 m plus n plus m. Okay, then I'm going to move over this term to the left hand side to have 1441 as a common factor. So I get here 1441 factor n minus m is strictly inferior than m. Okay, so the next thing up, I'm going to divide both sides by m, and then I'm moving this term to the right by taking the inverse of this one. Okay, so I get here n minus m over m is strictly inferior than 1 over 1441. Okay, so here is the first inequality. I write this one as a result of the left hand side of this inequality. Continually, I'm going to work on the right hand side of this inequality. I'm going to do the same job. I get 1443 m is strictly inferior than 1442 is multiplied by n. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the left hand side of this inequality by writing this 14 as a 1442 m plus m. Okay, then moving this over, then moving this term to the right, I will get here m is strictly inferior than 1442 is multiplied by n minus m. What I have done here, I'm simply moved this one to the right and take 1442 as a common factor. I get to this expression. Okay. Next thing up, I'm going to divide both sides by m and take the inverse of 1442 here. Okay, so I get here the following: 1 over 1442 is strictly inferior than n minus m is divided by m. Okay, so I get here the second inequality. So I have a same term is strictly inferior than this one. At the same time, I get this term is strictly superior than this one, which this term is between this term and this term, which I got here. Okay, then I'm going to take the reciprocal of this one by keeping this inequality in the same direction, by bringing this term to the left, by taking the inverse of this one and put it as a regular number. Okay, which is 1441 is strictly inferior than m over n minus m. As I'm taking the inverse of the whole thing, this term is turned into 1441 as I have here, one as an integer. Then this one, taking the inverse of this one, becomes m in numerator over n minus m is strictly inferior than 1442, like this. Okay, so the next thing up, I'm going to look at the right hand side of this inequality. So this term as 1442 over 1443 is strictly inferior than 1. Okay, so which means m over n strictly inferior than number 1. In the other word, m is strictly inferior than n. Okay, if m is strictly inferior than n, so I can rewrite in the other direction. I get n strictly superior than m. Then by taking this m to the right, I get n minus m is strictly superior than 0. Okay, so I'm going to zoom this one in if I would like to include number 1 in this inequality. So I get here n minus m is super equal to 1, like this. Okay, this is a very important fact, so I'm going to take the advantage of this one, then use it in this inequality. Okay, so if you take a look again at this inequality, so we'll have this one is telling us we have 2 options. So this one is telling us n minus m equals number 1, or n minus m is strictly superior than 1. Okay, so I'm going through 2 possibilities by choosing this n minus m equals 1 first to see what's given us, then move on to the second inequality. So if n minus m equals 1, which is denominator of this one, equals 1, which means m it will be between 1441 and 1442. So this one is telling us 1441 is strictly inferior than m and is strictly inferior than 1442. So what do we know about this number? This is natural number, but is between 2 consecutive integers, which is impossible, which means this one is a ruled out of this possibility. This one, it cannot be n minus m equals 1, so which means is the other option, which is n minus m strictly superior than 1, which is correct. Okay, so since we have n minus m strictly superior than 1, so if I want to include number 2 here, so I'm going to write n minus m is superior to 2. Okay, so I'm going to take both facts, which is this one and this inequality, at the top, and continue working on this one. Previously we're working on this inequality and came up with these nice facts. We get this inequality between 1441 and 1442, and we found out also n minus m is super equal to 2. So this fact n minus m, it was not equal to 1 due to the contradiction that we found from the last word. So which means we have 2 facts that's we are going to base on, okay, on these facts. So by using this inequality, especially I'm going to use the left hand side this inequality by crossing the multiplication. I get here this term 1441 is multiplied by this term, it's strictly inferior than m. Okay, so I get here 1441 is multiplied by n minus m is strictly inferior than m. Okay, so this one equivalent is the same as if I'm writing m is strictly superior than 1441 is multiplied by n minus m. So the reason that I'm doing this one, because I'm going to reach this goal. Okay, because as we have the same term as I repeated in the above expression, so this one, the only thing missing here, just I need to multiply both sides by 1441 to get to this expression. Okay, so by using the above fact, so I get here the following. I get n minus m will be multiplied by 1441. I will have 1441 is multiplied by n minus m is super equal to 2 times this one. 2 times is multiplied by 1441, which equals 2882. Okay, if you take a look again, this term, it was smaller than this term. Okay, so I can write it as this term m is strictly superior than this term. So in the other word, I found m, since this one is strictly superior than this term, which means m is strictly superior than this term. Okay, so I get here m is strictly superior than 2882. This is for m. Based on this new information, I'm also going to express n as I have here. Okay, so which means I already have n minus m is super equal to 2. Okay, I can have n. By taking this m to the right, I get n is super equal to 2 plus m. We already have m is strictly superior than this one. So in order to get from this one to this one, I'm simply going to add number 2 on both sides by using this fact. Okay? So I get here m plus number 2 is strictly superior than 2882 plus number 2, which is 2884. Okay? I'm making the connection between this one and this one. I found this number is inferior than this number. Okay? So I will have here this number, which is n, is super equal to this term. In the other word, I found n is strictly superior than this term. Then I found also m is strictly superior than this term. If I'm going to make the sum of these two terms, I will have the following. If I get n plus m is strictly superior than 2882 plus 2884. Okay? If I'm going to calculate this term, I get 5768. Okay? But this one is strictly superior than this one. If I'm going to include this number to be here, just by adding number 1 on the right, I get the following. I get n plus m is super equal to 2, 5769. Okay? What's this one telling us? It's telling us the minimum of this one equals this one. So therefore we have the minimum of this sum, which is n plus m, equals 5769. This is the smallest value of this one. Okay? So I have ended with this video. Hopefully it's clear statement. By the way, don't forget to support us with your like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you next video. Bye.